Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Go.
And hello.
Hey.
Hello there. Welcome to the
Hello, Jerry.
Board Game Snobs podcast. This is the best podcast that talks about board games, probably not the best podcast for board games. This is Jerry, and with me as always is the host of the show.
Hey. Gaby.
I sound like Eeyore there. The host of the show.
Host of the show. It's okay. I'll allow it. Come in high energy, Jerry. Go. High energy. Go.
I'm super high energy. I'm the Tigger of this show. You're like the Eeyore. You're Eeyore. I'm Tigger. I bounce everywhere.
Why can't I be Winnie the Pooh in between?
Huh?
Why can't I be Winnie? Shirtless and pants. No, I have a shirt, no pants.
Did that ever bother you that there's some that was a predominant thing?
Anthropomorphic
that there are cartoon
cartoons.
Characters that were pantless.
Never thought about
chronically.
Literally,
pantless.
never thought about it.
Why did cartoonists back in the day feel the need to say, "Oh, they need a shirt"? We can't see their nipples, but we can have.
I don't
pantless.
know. It's an interesting subject. Why? As a child, I never thought about it, but now you have me thinking. You have me in deep thought about why Winnie the Pooh. What is the Pooh? Like, is that a thing? What is the Pooh? Like Winnie the Pooh, as if that is something. Are there more than one Pooh?
I assume two things. Either one, a Pooh is a type of bear. Like he is a Pooh.
A Pooh bear?
An Ewok. He's a Pooh bear.
That's like Alexander the Great, not Alexander the Pooh. Is he?
Maybe.
Is he?
Maybe Pooh was like synonymous with some sort of vulgar term for poo, and that was just a nice way of letting everybody know that Winnie was the man. Winnie the man.
You know how like people back in the old days, like they come in with all these characters, and they were all had like these double entendre innuendos inserted into these cartoons and movies and all this stuff, and we were like all innocent just viewing them, but they're like, oh yeah, they didn't even see what we really meant with that. Winnie the Pooh.
I got it. No, here it is. I just remember this article about this woman who was a jogger, and she would jog and
or jogger with a soft J
in people's yard. And so
was her name
cops
Winnie?
were after her. I don't know. And so maybe that's what Winnie was doing. It's like he got so notorious for defecating in the other animal forests areas that they just called him the Pooh.
Wouldn't he be Winnie the Jogger? That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to be known for what that is called. Alexander the Great. He was called the Great. Like, how much better does it get than that? Why was he called the Great? Why was he called Alexander the Great? Because he was really good at conquering stuff. And like, if you didn't call him, if you didn't call him that, it's not Alexander. Alexander the Good. And see, if you're not great, you're good. That means that would just imply that you're a good person. He's a good guy. Oh, he's a good guy. He let me cut in front of him in line for lunch. Alexander the Good. Alexander the Great. Why was he so great at conquering? I bet he had lots of enemies.
Yeah, he conquered everything, and then he looked out amongst the world and wept because there was no place else left to conquer.
And died at 32. Like How sad.
I've outlived him. Either way.
I've outlived him. Hey, Alexander. Hey, guess what? I'm older than you, bruh. Yeah, you ain't so great now.
I'm having a midlife crisis.
Gaby the Great.
Yeah.
You see this gold chain of this Corvette I'm driving? Yeah, baby.
And in a Corvette, that's like a IROC. Driving an IROC.
That's my IROC Z, baby.
That's right.
I'm getting my ear pierced.
I got speaking of piercings, which makes me think of Vikings, which makes me think of Christopher the Viking, who sent me an IG message. He was painting stuff the other day. I guess he paints minis as well, and I've been doing more of that in the lockdown. I enjoy painting. I'm not any good at it. A matter of fact, it was interesting that he would send me this message saying, "Oh, this is the thing I'm doing right now," as I was taking a mini and putting it in rubbing alcohol because I had messed up so bad on it. I needed it to be cleansed.
Washed clean.
And, it's painting minis. Yeah, painting minis is a great thing, but it's also, it can be so calming, but when you mess up, I go into a rage that is almost unquenchable. And so I don't know.
You need to work on that, my friend.
I did. As a matter of fact, I tried to calm myself and think deeply about things. And since I was like looking at
this
Chris LaFer's from Iceland, and so I started looking up like Icelandic facts. And then I had an idea for a podcast where we just talk about Nordic people and just quote random facts about them. We should start a new podcast, and it should be called, are you ready for this? Sporadically Nord. You ready? Sporadically. Hi, everybody. My name's Don Hughes, and welcome to Sporadically Nord. And with me is my friend Mike Delisio. Yeah, but we can't keep having. We should start multiple podcasts because it's working for Dan.
I am just going to start firing them up. Hey, this is something has no relation to what you just said.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
In relation to painting your minis and you needing things to be a certain way, I have realized in my midlife crisis, which we just discussed, along with my gold chain and Corvette, I require things to be a certain way, and I have not even noticed them until my wife Gina points them out. For example, I go to take a shower. She hands me a towel that I don't like. I don't like this towel that we have. I prefer this other style of towel that we have. Give me this other towel that we have because I don't like the pattern of this one. I prefer this other style. When it comes to eating a soup, there's a certain spoon I like to use. A certain bowl I like to use. A certain fork I like to use. I have come to realize I am so freaking picky about everything. There's I like a certain spot. Unlike Sheldon Cooper, I like a certain spot on my couch. I like to eat cream of wheat a certain way. I will, do you eat cream of wheat?
I don't even know what that is.
Are you kidding me?
Wait a minute.
You don't know cream of wheat? Porridge?
Wait a minute. Oh, porridge, yeah. That was my nickname in high school. Go ahead.
Porridge, cream of wheat, whatever it's called. I like to take my spoon, my large tablespoon, because that's what I eat with. I don't eat with a teaspoon because that's just taunting me. I take a tablespoon and I
You eat with a ladle.
Yes. I go around the edge of the rim with the cool spots of the porridge or cream of wheat, and I eat that, and I eat that, and I go around the edges until I get to the center, and then I eat the center. I eat cream of wheat that way. I eat that my way. When I eat cereal, cold cereal.
The three bears come home and like, who's been eating our porridge? Well, I can tell since the outer edge have just been eaten, it must have been that Chilean man down the street.
It's me. Cold cereal. I like nearly all cold cereals to be poured, milk be poured upon them, and then I like them to sit, and I like them to get soggy.
No.
I like my bran flakes soggy. I like my cornflakes soggy. I like my Chex Mix soggy.
I'm sorry. We can't be friends anymore. You can't eat soggy cereal.
The only cereal I like fresh is Cocoa Puffs. And I didn't eat Cocoa Puffs as a child because my mama didn't let me eat them sugary cereals. Cocoa Puffs, Frosted Flakes or whatever, Honeycombs, Tricks.
I'll eat Honeycombs.
Mama didn't let me have none of that.
Top 5 cereals right now, go.
Top 5 cereals? I would say Cocoa Puffs is number 1 for me.
Okay.
I would go Tricks. I would go Honeycombs. I would go bran flakes. I would go cornflakes. And I don't have a fifth because I've never had that many different cereals.
Cut those cornflake stuff out. That's loser stuff. You don't need those. What you need to add is frosted shredded wheat, especially the ones that got the strawberry frosting. That's what you need. That's where you get your bran. That's what keeps you moving.
Never had that.
That's what keeps it. Yes, I love that.
I have had shredded wheat, but I like my shredded wheat to get soggy before I eat it.
I'll give you the sogginess on that. Plus, I like honey nut oats.
No, I don't like those.
Yes. I like those. I like them.
But this is something else. So with Cheerios, so this is it. This is what's so crazy. With bran flakes, I like the artificial sweeteners. Give me equal. Give me sweet and low. Give me some artificial sweetener. With Honey Nut, with Cheerios, I like real sugar. I don't like artificial sweeteners. I like real sugar. With what's the shredded wheat? The shredded wheat. With the shredded wheat, I like real sugar. Don't give me artificial. But with cornflakes, bran flakes, give me artificial. I have so many.
Wait a minute. Are you putting sugar in your cereal?
Yes.
Oh my God. You have a problem and you need to stop now. You don't put sugar in your cereal. They're already like 1,000 grams of sugar.
No, which cereals are you talking? I don't put sugar in my Cocoa Puffs. I don't put sugar in my Trix. Fruit Loops, don't care for them.
Nobody cares for Fruit Loops. They all taste the same.
But I do like my shredded wheat. Even with the frosted side, I like that with real sugar.
No.
Added.
No, I'll tell you what.
Add sugar. Give me shredded wheat, add sugar.
Let me tell you what. My wife does not buy cereal. We currently have not had cereal in our home.
Because cereal is pretty much useless when it comes to nutritional benefits.
Correct. And plus, I can't stop myself. I'll eat a box of cereal a day. I'll eat grape nuts dry. That's how OG I am. I am crazy about cereal. So we don't even have that in our home. My wife won't buy it because I am literally a cereal killer.
Bubba wakes up at midnight to eat cereal.
I know. Me and Bubba talk about cereal all the time. Like he knows.
So what's your favorite cereal?
My favorite cereal? Man.
My favorite is Cocoa Puffs. If my number one is Cocoa Puffs. I could eat Cocoa Puffs. Because you eat the Cocoa Puffs, then you drink the milk and it's chocolate milk. Bam.
No, I don't like that. Here's why. I like Cocoa Puffs. Don't get me wrong. Cocoa Puffs are good. I'll eat Cocoa Puffs, but they're more of a dessert. I love frosted strawberry shredded wheat.
I've never had the strawberry.
Yeah, you get that strawberry nut. They're red looking. You pour that milk on there, and you let them sit for just a second. You like 30 seconds. You let the milk soak in. You don't want them too soggy. You just want them moist. And you eat those, and not only do they fill you up, they make you feel like you've had a meal. And you eat frosted shredded wheat, you can go out and fight a battle. Nobody's ever fought a battle on Cocoa Puffs. No great Nordic warriors.
Not for longer than like 15 minutes.
On Cocoa Puffs.
They would sugar crash shortly thereafter.
No, you can go to war on shredded wheat. You could eat shredded wheat and fight somebody. I have ate shredded wheat and fought somebody. And won.
Little Debbie brownies. You like Little Debbie brownies?
I do like Little Debbie brownies.
I eat the fudge off the top before I eat the brownie, and I especially like them frozen.
I do that. I also, the other day when I was on that search, they brought us lunch, and of course, when they just bring random things, like you're out in the middle of nowhere, and people just say, "We're going to bring you food." You don't care. You're just going to eat anything.
Yeah.
Somebody brought this item that I love. I love these. It's those little Star Crunch things, those Little Debbie little chocolate crunchy things. You know what I'm talking about?
With the little Rice Krispies in them?
The little Rice Krispies, but they're drizzled and covered with little chocolate.
Yeah.
I love those. Yeah. I ate a box of those, a literal box of those. There's like 12 in a box, and I just ate them. They're
good. They're good.
And then I ran like kilometers. Like I didn't understand miles anymore. I was thinking in terms of kilometers. My mind was open to the metric system for the first time. That's what it did to me. We need to move on to our top 5 games because I'm getting too excited thinking about Star Crunch.
Real quick, Snickers, I ate the nougat first. If I have a roll with mashed potatoes, I always skip the potatoes onto the roll and eat bread.
No. I won't do that. I like my bread because I enjoy yeast. I enjoy yeast rolls and bread, and I like bread.
You don't scoop the potatoes onto the yeast?
I don't. And I know that's odd being from the South because you sop things.
Yes, sop it up.
People, I didn't know that wasn't like. I think that can't just be a Southern thing, but
sop it up, baby, sop it up. Boom, boom.
Yeah, sopping up is where you take the bread and you sop up the oils or the juices of whatever you just ate, and then you eat said bread.
Is sop a legitimate verb? I like to sop my bread.
Yeah, like it's a sop hop. No, you sop things up. That's the thing.
You turn on the music and start scooping your potatoes onto your bread.
Yeah. That's where you do the monster mash.
The monster mashed potato.
Oh, this is good. This is gold. Oh, this is good tequila too. I'm still I'm finishing up that Cava de Oro. It's gone now. It's gone. It's gone like our pride. Let's do our top 5 games that we are looking forward to playing as soon as we get out of quarantine. And I'll start.
All right,
I got
go.
my number 5.
Technically, Texas, Northeast, we're out of quarantine. Technically.
Oh.
So
well,
if you wanted to come over, you could. You could. Just make sure you don't have COVID-19 when you do.
All right. So 2 of the games on my list.
Top 5 games we want to play between the two of us.
As soon as we get out of quarantine.
I
noticed that on my list, 2 of these games are by the same designer. And then I started looking up that designer. You'll never guess the designer. And then I realized that he has recently passed away. And it made me very, very sad. Anyways, the first game.
I guess.
Say what? You're just mumbling.
Hold on. Let me.
Are you going to guess?
I bet I could guess.
All right, guess.
Chad Jensen.
I love you because you read my mind. Chad Jensen passed away, and Chad Jensen is the designer of Welcome to Centerville, Dominant Species, and Combat Commander Europe. I own Dominant Species, and now my number 5, Welcome to Centerville. Welcome to Centerville is a game that I have been after for quite some time. It was a game that came out in 2017. It's a light 2 to 4 player board game that models the growth and the management of a small city. And it's got some interesting reviews, and it's a dice game. I know, I don't like dice games.
Weird.
But you roll the dice, and then you use the dice in like a Yahtzee fashion to build certain areas. So it's kind of like a dice and Welcome to, but yet ramped up a bit. It's a little more
Welcome
complicated.
to
Actually,
Centerville.
BGG rates it as a 2.3. And so it's a GMT game.
A 2.3 out of what?
Out of 5.
Oh. So it's
on the weights. So
slightly less than middle. Okay.
And so I'm interested in it, and it's been one that I've had on my list for a long time, and I actually come across it. So I have it, and it's my number 5, and I just read the rule book on it, and I'm excited because the last few GMT games I've got have been really good. And so there you go. That's my number 5. Welcome to Centerville.
Very nice. My number 5 of games I would want to play after we get out of quarantine. This is a cheap shot because I just bought it. I keep hearing great things about it, even from people in our Facebook group. I laid it out. I learned it. I figured it out solo, but I don't want to play it solo. I want to play it with you and Enrique. Fantastic Factories.
What?
Fantastic Factories. It is a deck.
What?
It's a card game. Tableau builder. It appears to be very basic. You're drawing these cards. You can get blueprints. You can get contractors. You have to get a certain amount of metal and energy and all these things to build these certain buildings. And as you build them out, they give you these benefits, and you're just building this tableau. It looks really nice and smooth and simple, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Fantastic Factories.
That's interesting.
That's going to be, I'm going to say this right now. That's going to be the only game new to me and you on my list.
Really? The rest
we played.
Okay. Rest are replayable. Most of mine are new ones or ones that I have gotten and either have, if they have a solo, I've played the solo, and now I'm desperately wanting to play them multiplayer. The next one for me, the number 4, is a game for which I poo-hawed.
Oh.
I did not think anything about it. And then while listening to a interview done by our friend Richard Dick Simpson on his podcast, We're Not Wizard. He interviewed David Turksey.
Oh, yeah.
And David Turksey plugged this game because apparently the designer is a friend of his. Ragusa, designed by Fabio Lapino. I don't know how, I think I'm mispronouncing that. It has a solo. I'm not interested in playing it solo. It's by Capstone Games, which they made every freaking game in 2019 for some reason.
Yeah, they did.
Ragusa was one that several of our listeners kept saying we needed to play. It's very Euro-y, and it looks so Euro, it's sickening. But apparently there is some very tricky player interaction with it.
Did you play it solo?
I set it up solo. I started it solo and realized I don't want to play it solo. It lacks the back and forth that occurs with the other players. And so everybody I've read have said, it is, the multiplayer is where it shines. The solo is just tacked on. Yeah. Just do your thing. And
see, so that's different. Like I played, I relearned because we played it once and I loved it. Circadian's First Light. Mm-hmm. It's a great game, multiplayer.
That is a great game.
I like it. I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed Circadian's First Light as a even Jerry was like, it's a dice placement. Hey, guess what? Jerry hates that style. It's an excellent dice placement game. It's a good solo game. I just learned it today because it's been forever since we played it. I looked it up. It's like January something we played this game. So it's been 4 or 5 months since we played it. I've forgotten how to play it. I had the general idea, but I just reread everything. Played it solo. Enjoyed it solo. I can't wait to play it again, but it's not my top 5 of wanting to play again.
So Ragusa, my number 4. Your number 4, sir.
My number 4 game I want to play when we get back together again. I misspelled it as Kong's Dilemma. It's King's Dilemma.
Kong!
Apparently my phone doesn't want to say King. It wants to say Kong. And so we're going to play Kong's Dilemma when we get back.
And so it's like, do I fight these people? Am I the king?
Do I get
or am I just the prince?
How far up do I go the Empire State Building?
Did you enjoy the remake of King Kong?
With Jack Black?
The one with Jack Black, yeah.
And Adrian, whatever his name is, that doesn't even make movies anymore. I really liked the first 2 hours of that movie. I did not like the last hour of that movie.
It seemed like it was, I don't like remakes unless the remake envisions something else about the story. All it did was take King Kong and go, let's add some dinosaurs and some special effects.
They made King Kong with better effects. That's all it was.
And Jack Black was miscast.
Yes.
Like, why is Jack
super
Black
serious?
In that show? Super
serious Jack Black. Weird.
Yeah. I very much think that like the Skull Island King Kong.
Oh, that was good.
That was the dumbest movie I saw whenever that came out. Good. I can't remember why I saw that movie.
Because it was good.
It was good. It was just, this is a stupid movie. It did not take itself seriously. Oh, I know why I saw it. It had John Goodman in it. And I have this thing. If John Goodman's in it, I've got to watch it.
I had Samuel L. Jackson in it. That's enough for me.
Oh, Samuel L. Jackson's in everything.
Exactly.
Samuel L. Jackson will. You could PayPal Samuel L. Jackson $500 and he'll come to your house. I mean, that guy's in everything.
It's good. And it would be good. That PayPal, when I sent him, he would come to my house and it would be amazing. Oscar worthy.
I'm going to send him an email. No, it wouldn't be Oscar worthy.
An Oscar worthy.
Send him an email and see if he will come on the podcast.
Do a TikTok video.
We'd probably have to edit everything out, everything he said, though, unfortunately.
It would be rated MA for language.
You were saying King's Dilemma. I'm excited to play that one again.
I'm so ready for you and Enrique to get back to. We played this at our Cabin Con 2020, which little did we know at the time that would be the last time we get together for games.
It's also be the only convention of the year.
Only convention of the year.
That board gaming took place.
Everything got canceled. The world shut down. But anyway, so yeah.
It's almost as if Enrique knew this was going to happen.
King's Dilemma is an interesting game. It's purely just get together, open up some stuff, vote on it, argue about it, see where you fall. It's not like the most, I don't know how to describe King's Dilemma, because like the game that we played, it wasn't all that in depth. It was just like provided you these scenarios and you voted on them, and depending on where you need to fall, that's kind of where you wanted to vote, and you don't know what the other people need to do. And I was voting for stuff that was crazy that y'all didn't understand. And you're like, why would he ever vote for that? But I'm like, well, I have a personal goal I need to attain that y'all don't understand, bruh. So
I'm looking forward to that one too. Yeah, let's get back to that. That was your number 4?
That was my number 4.
All right. My number 3 is a game for which a publisher sent to me, simply because I commented so favorably on their Instagram about it. And it is a game that I am very much excited to play. It is obviously something that I would have never have purchased, never looked at, because of it kind of being like what I would describe as a dungeon crawler. It's a minis game. It's Core Space, C-O-R-E, Core Space. It's from a company called Battle Systems. And this game is basically, I don't want to say it's a knockoff of Firefly, but it's very similar in its presentation, that you have this crew, you are going into these areas and you're fighting robots to get some sort of objective. It's very strangely easy to learn and way overproduced. I am saying it comes with its own terrain, like its own walls and crates and computers and stuff, that it is just one of these games that obviously the designer Colin Young put a lot of effort into designing this system and also having all the aesthetics to it. And it is amazing to look at. It has an awesome rule book. It has a campaign. It's a game that can be played solo, but it's not one of those, I don't like dungeon crawls. This is obviously a game that's going to benefit from playing with other people, where they are the other crew and you're both raiding this star base to try to steal something, and there's robots fighting you type thing.
Never heard of it.
You can look on.
Is it new?
Look on. No, it came out in 2019.
Oh.
And it's from I believe it was a Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken. If you look on our Instagram, you'll see the pictures that I posted of it. It is beautiful. It is very striking. And if you're looking for a miniatures game that's easy to learn and comes with its own terrain, and you're into that spatial aspect of kind of like X-Wing, where you're moving people around, but yet has very simple rule set, very easy to learn, in my opinion, Core Space. And I am super excited to play this. And that's my number 3.
Wow. A game I never heard of.
Educate yourself.
Educate yourself, fool. My number 3 is Modern Art.
You want to play Modern Art again?
I do too. Freaking love that game. It's auction. It's bidding. Is auction and bidding the same thing? It's the same thing, right?
Maybe.
The same thing.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Well, whatever that is. Modern Art is a game that requires at least 3 people, which is where me and Jerry and John have played. We played that. Me and Jerry and has Enrique played Modern Art? I think he has.
Yeah, he has. He sucks at it.
But it's best at 4 or however many you can get. 3 is the minimum, but it's a bidding auction game. You're bidding on these pieces of art. You set them up. There's like 4 or 5 different ways to bid. And it's just, it requires people. And that's what I'm missing right now is being around people. That's why I think I'm going this particular route in the games that I want to play. I want to play modern art because it requires me and Jerry and at least one other person to compete over these paintings and bid for them and auction them, and me say, I'll give you $20. I'll give you $30. No, I'll give you $45. And we just go around and around, and that's the type of stuff I like. Modern art, my number 3 game.
Had a card game version of it coming out soon. I'll be interested in seeing what that's all about.
Card game.
Can imagine.
It is a card game.
I know. It's like I don't know. But it is the is it the best bidding game? It may be the best bidding game. It's certainly up there.
I almost put modern art and high society. Both Reiner Knizia games, I put them both nearly in the same boat. That's just the style of game I particularly enjoy. Very simple, very straightforward. I enjoy it very much.
Speaking of boats, my number 2 is Flotilla. Flotilla, the 2019 game by WizKids. It's the water world type game where you are building and gathering resources, and there are 2 separate sides of the endeavor. There's the sink side, for which you're basically diving the ocean and gathering resources, and at some point in time you can choose to turn to the sky side, selling your stuff and leaving your boat behind, and basically being, some of the upper level people. And it's a economic exploration game that has, apparently it's quite complicated and has a quite complicated economy. It is a 3 to 5 player game. You cannot play it solo. And the reviews I have read on it have been quite favorable. It's kind of odd for WizKids to put out this type of game, this heavy economic game. I desperately want to play it. It looks like one of those. It looks like one of those economy games akin to, but not similar to, City of the Big Shoulders.
Oh,
City of the Big Shoulders was a big hit for us. This looks like a stripped down. This looks like it diverges from, instead of like in City of the Big Shoulders where you're opening companies, this is like you're gathering resources, and the economy between you gathering resources and selling them to your opponent, that market, that interchange, that supply and demand aspect is very interesting. So that's why I'm desperately wanting to play this game. It has been on my shelf. And, Flotilla. I have to play it before we do the Snobbies for 2019 because I feel it would be a miss not to get it and Ragusa under my belt, because I suspect they are probably going to be pretty good.
I want to play both of them. Flotilla or Flotilla?
It's Flotilla without the corn. It's a flower.
Hold the corn. My number 2 game I want to play after getting out of quarantine with my best friend, Jerry Baker, is a Game of Thrones.
Sorry, caught me off guard. What now?
As I've said, you'll notice a particular theme to my games, and they require people, friends, multiple players to play these games. They require alliances, negotiation. I don't like straight up negotiation, which Game of Thrones is not. Is best at 6 player. It plays equally as well at 4 player if you play with the Feast of Crows. 4 crows. The expansion, Feast of Crows. You also have the expansion we've never used, the dragon expansion with Mother of Dragons or whatever.
It's Coco.
We have those. You have those. We have these games, and I want to play Game of Thrones with 6 people, with 5 other people, and making alliances and breaking alliances and attacking each other and just going crazy in this game of area control and battle, and I just can't wait to be around people again, basically.
I could just show up to your house and punch you in the gut if you want that feeling of betrayal, because that's essentially what has happened in every game of Game of Thrones. Is where the first round I end up convincing you to do something and then backstabbing you.
But the games I remember is the last game I remember we played was the one with us and Mike and DJ, and that's where I had said that DJ could be in a spot that he could not actually be in. And that's what he was saying. They were never really there. It was just
I remember that.
I've had
a great time.
Game of Thrones, and I've said it's one of those games, depending on the scenario and how things go, it can be super fun or it can super suck, depending on how things tend to work for you and the alliances and the people go attack you and the die roll, etc. But it's an amazing game when it turns out that way, if that makes any sense.
It is an amazing game if you have the right people and the right type of people. And fortunately, you know a lot of the right type of people.
Yes.
My number one game that I am looking forward to is a game that I've had in my possession now for almost 9 months. It is a game that I have been wanting to play for quite some time. It's an older game. I say older because in board gaming, we tend to be very forgetful. It actually came out in 2010.
So it's like a 2018 game?
2010.
Oh, whoa, 10 years old. That's like a classic.
It's a classic, and by many, it is considered to be a classic. It's very heavy, also designed by Chad Jensen. It's Dominant Species.
Wow.
I very much have wanted to play this very odd-looking game with the little cones and the cubes and everything on the board. Another GMT game that I have seen people rave about, where you are a particular type of species trying to dominate the landscape. It's a worker placement, which is very odd. It's not so much worker placement as it is there is workers to it. It's hard to describe. I guess that's kind of why the weight of it's so heavy, but there's a little bit of exploration, area influence, area majority, card drafting. There's a lot going on in it. It's a very complicated game, but it's one of those heavy strategy games for which you just spend a day playing. And I am super interested in playing it. It's been one of these evergreen games that have stayed around for a decade, and people are still talking about it. And I just kind of feel like I owe it. I have so far enjoyed Combat Commander Europe that Chad Jensen had made. I really think I'm going to like Welcome To, and this is probably his magnum opus. And so I am desperately wanting to play Dominant Species.
Oh, color me intrigued.
I want to be the marsupials.
I consider it his magnum PI.
Magnum PI, a fun fact, I was listening to
I'll be the judge.
Thing about Magnum PI. Do you realize there was an episode for which he shot an unarmed man, and that was the first ever on television episode of a TV show that they aired a murder by a main character?
You mean Magnum murdered a man that was unarmed?
Yes. Because he was like somebody that was holding him captive during the war. It was like the
PTSD type stuff.
Yeah, POW stuff. I think he shot the guy, and that was like a television thing that was very controversial.
Wow, no, I did not know that.
What was not controversial though was his mustache. That mustache was great, and Enrique is trying to fashion.
Enrique could live for 50 years and never copy the mustache.
I don't think that anybody can copy that mustache. That was an epic mustache.
I tried. I went for a month without shaving my mustache, and it was not getting any better. So I conceded. I let it go.
Top 5 mustaches. You got Magnum PI.
Quigley Down Under. Also.
Sam Elliott.
Also Magnum PI.
Who else has got a solid mustache?
Now that's a good question. Who has a good mustache? Are we talking TV shows or movies?
Well, really,
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson's mustache was the mustache of this generation. He kind of brought it back.
You have got to give it to Ron Swanson. I mean, Magnum PI is probably top 5 for sure. But Ron Swanson is like also top 5 of modern, movies and stuff.
Have you seen Nick Offerman with his mustache off though?
I would prefer not to.
It's horrific. This
Is it
man
scary?
has to have facial hair, or it's bad.
I would say Errol Flynn.
Okay,
He has a pencil mustache in like the Robin Hood movies. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like having to Google because I don't know. I don't know how to describe him. It's the dude from the Murder on the Orient Express. It's like the Branagh. He's got like this massive
Detective Poirot.
Yes, that's it. It's massive.
That is a pretty solid man. And the British actor who played him, who is an awesome actor,
Kenneth
who's
Branagh?
also in Tenet. Who?
Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, love that.
Kurt Russell. Tombstone.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. All right, you're number 1, sir.
Oh.
Game, not mustache.
Number 1 game. I mentioned this, I think, in our previous conversation on a previous podcast. Lords of Vegas, baby. Vegas, baby. I can't wait to get together to gamble at your casino, to negotiate, try to negotiate with me or Enrique or whoever else happens to be in the game and trade casinos, and then me go to your casino and gamble my life savings away with the die roll. It's just that particular style of game has me particularly interested because I can't do that right now, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Lords of Vegas, one of the greatest games of all time.
I agree with you there. I think Lords of Vegas captures... I would like to discuss Lords of Vegas after we play it again, just because I've thought about here recently in my own endeavors of trying to design a board game that there aren't that many games that perfectly capture the theme. And Lords of Vegas is one of those that really does catch lightning in a bottle. It is exactly what you expect that game to be like. From the negotiating, from the straightforward gambling, to the area control, to the aggressiveness of it. It is just a solid game. Probably one of the best games made within the past 10 years.
Well, it takes the factor of negotiation. Like, it takes Chinatown to me and improves upon it. And the fact that I don't have to negotiate for these particular spots. I could just earn it with the next turn. And then I then have a position that you might want the next turn. Or I could just a roll of the die and take over your position without having to negotiate with you. Like, I could forcefully just take it, like mob style. And I just love that part of Lords of Vegas.
Yeah. Chinatown, that they're two separate games, of course, in terms of their mechanics, because Chinatown is the steeled negotiation. It is just negotiation. And it is one of those games to where when you win Chinatown, it is because you have talked and negotiated yourself either to victory, or you have sat there and let other people around you kind of just feed you. It's very much reliant on the players to work. Chinatown is a game that you have to have 4 people who are willing to negotiate for that game to work. Lords of Vegas doesn't require that. Lords of Vegas can be...
You can just take it.
You just take it. It can be somebody who never negotiates. It can be somebody who talks the entire game and tries to negotiate. It can be somebody who completely ignores everything else and just gambles and buys up stuff. It is like you can sit at a table with 4 different people with 4 different styles, and that game still functions. And so in terms of a game that is just fun, Lords of Vegas is just that encapsulated.
It's the max.
Chinatown's like Go of negotiation games. There's so many options. There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's really contingent on the players to make the game work. Whereas Lords of Vegas, Lords of Vegas, you can play that with just about anybody. It is truly
great.
one of those
It's
games
great.
that just the style and the aesthetics of it.
It should be in everyone's top 10 games.
Probably. That's enough. We've talked for too much, and I'm tired. It's like 11 o'clock here.
I'm sleepy.
I am sleepy. We stayed up late to record this because my kids happened to go to sleep.
Yeah,
Jack is going to be very upset.
Put Jack to sleep.
First off, I wanted to make something clear. One of the podcasts when Jack was on earlier, he talked about his new swimming pool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a new swimming pool. That is one of those big steel those
trough?
big round barrels those troughs that they use for cattle. Okay,
Just fill it with water. That's a swimming pool to a kid.
That's what he thinks is his swimming pool.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Did you get a pool?" Like, no.
It's not like you had like an underground, 5-foot pool. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. He then comes to me after the podcast and says, "I want to do a podcast." And I was like, "Oh, you do?" And he's like, "Yes. I just want to do it with Gaby, though. Just me and Gaby. We're going to talk." And then he said something that really bothered me. He says, "I want to talk about my favorite game."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "Stratego." And I introduced him to Stratego not a while back, and it was just, he's just,
it's a good game. Stratego's a good game.
It's just, Stratego's legit. It's legit. I have also the Star Wars, Star Wars Risk, but it's not really Risk game. And he likes just playing with the models out of that.
He's just a boy. He don't know what he's doing.
He's 7. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
7 years old. He don't know what he's talking about. Go to bed,
anyway,
Jack. Let us podcast.
I know. I had to wait and I had to put him to sleep. Make sure he's asleep before he gets talk.
All right.
Anyways, that's us. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and
email us, boardgamesnobs@gmail.com. Join our Facebook group. Those are the two. If you email us at boardgamesnobs@gmail.com, that is where we're most likely to notice it, acknowledge it, read it on perhaps our next podcast if it is a good topic of conversation like Lindsay often seems to do. And when
she's not having to pull Eric away from watching those Chihuahua dog shows.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua. All right. Until next time, I'm Gaby. This is Jerry.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.